Welcome everybody, we're back from Ravnica for some Grand Champion finals here between Rob Goodwin at the top of the screen and Dylan Magika at the bottom. Dylan was the Grand Finalist last year, he's hoping to get back there. He qualified as a wild card this time. Rob finished second in Europe, so Rob's a top seed. He chose Standard as the first format and he's playing first. Thought Erasure, I think it's Erasure is his first play, and it looks like he's probably, well, I was about to say he's on that Surveil, blue-black Surveil, but he's played a red source, so some sort of Grixis list. Dylan, I'm going to get Sultai here. It looks like some sort of, probably the green-black that's insanely popular at the moment, with a bit of a blue splash for something. Thief of Sanity is going to do some massive work here. When it connects with the player, Rob looks at 3 cards and gets to play one permanently from exile. The best way to think of it's like a Gonti Lord of Luxury with flying. And you only get to look at 3 instead of 4 cards. So the player's just there trading Chupacabras. This is just a value deck. Basically, every creature that enters the battlefield gets some sort of a cast trigger. No, sorry, not a cast trigger, an ETB trigger. For this reason, there's been a lot of talk online now about Tocatli Honor Guard, which disables enter the battlefield triggers. But Dylan now for Vraska, so he's starting to get on top of this match. Still 5 cards in hand for Rob, but he's going to have to find something, or Vraska's a clean answer. Vraska's Contempt is a clean answer for Vraska. It's going to be interesting to see if Dylan's going to want to use that Chupacabra to take down the other Chupacabra, but he doesn't. Golgari Find Broker gets him back a Jade Light Ranger from the graveyard. And you can see the value now. It's, all this power just coming from Enter the Battlefield triggers. And Dylan with all the answers. Still with an Assassin's Trophy in hand, there's going to be a ton of damage coming across here. 7, 9, 11 power on the board, so there's no viable blocks here for Rob because the Seeker Squire's a 2/3 and that Pirate has Menace, so he can't be blocked anyway. Doom Whisperer down because of the Chupacabra, so ton of damage coming across here, and I think we're about to go to game 2. You can see Rob is down to 7. Yeah, he's conceded, so we're on to game 2 now. Remember, it's important in these matchups that to remember that Rob actually is playing first. It was his choice, so logic would suggest that you probably favour this matchup. Of course, all the players have access to the other players' deck lists. So the person that's the highest seed will choose the matchup that they think is the most favourable. Dylan, on the other hand, or whoever loses this gets to choose the next format. So not necessarily Dylan choosing. If Dylan wins, Rob will get to choose the next format again. We don't really know what each person's preferred format is. It'd actually be quite interesting to find that out. Because I wonder how many times the opponent chooses something and then the other player's like, oh good, it worked out for me anyway. So here's a Jade Light Ranger, and that gets an Essence Scatter in response. So I was about to say, we haven't seen a lot of firepower from Rob. We saw a Doom Whisperer, but apart from that, it didn't really do much. Let me just fix up that name. The Doom Whisperer came and went very quickly. Here's a second Thought Erasure. Well, Plaguecrafter here's an interesting one. Well, Vivian Reed, this is an interesting card. This is going to get Disdainful Stroke. Rob couldn't cast that one fast enough. I was about to say that was like a Peanuts Planeswalker. You could get it for about $4, and suddenly it just shot up. I saw it the other day. It's about $18 now. Bolus is down thanks to the Plaguecrafter. And Dylan's going to use Fine Finality to get back the Plaguecrafter and the Jade Light Ranger. So here's a Doom Whisperer, but I'm not sure why he played that out when he just saw Dylan get that Plaguecrafter back. I was going to say, my guess is he desperately wants to Surveil. He's going to Surveil twice here. He put the first 2 cards into his grave. Puts a Dream Eater into his grave as well, and then leaves 1 on top. So he must have some sort of answer here. You can see from this green-black list, okay, that's what he wants on top, the Eldest Reborn. So next turn, Dylan discards a card, so you can see he's got the land. That's a pretty easy pick. And then the turn after that, Rob will actually get back a creature or a planeswalker from any graveyard. Here comes Doom Whisperer. Unfortunately, there's a Chupacabra sitting over there. Well, Dylan's going to choose to take it down with the Vraska's ability instead. But that does not work. Oh, he took down the Eldest Reborn, okay. He's playing a long game here. So he traded Vraska for the ability to... Oh, that's a good top deck Assassin's Trophy. I think it was game over there if he didn't top deck that. You can see the treasure sitting there. It's just a mana ramp. Not as good as a clue token from the previous standard block. Nicol Bolas is 1 turn away from flipping here. Here's a Chupacabra, so it's Rob that's starting to get the momentum back his way now. And I think Dylan needs it. He got a top deck last time. I was about to say he needed a top deck this time. He didn't get it, so we're going to a decider in standard here, game 3. Plaguecrafter is just an awesome card. What's he going to take here? This will be interesting. Thought Erasure. I'd be tempted to take the Jade Light Ranger here. He's still a long way from Carnage Tyrant. The only thing is, because the Carnage Tyrant has hexproof, he can't get it later on if it resolves. Yeah, he takes the Jade Light Ranger. Still got plenty of time to get that Carnage Tyrant. I was about to say that the Plaguecrafter is like a... I forget, Merciless Executioner, except for it's even better because it has same mana costs and everything, except you can also get Planeswalkers, and even if you can't get a Planeswalker, they can at least discard. But 2, 4, 5, next turn Carnage Tyrant's coming down, so we'll see if Rob's got an answer this turn. If he doesn't, he's in big trouble. Because Grixis colours just have no way of dealing with that Carnage Tyrant. See, Dylan, if a ton of lands in hand, he's going to be happy to discard. So, interesting to see what he does next turn. Does he play Carnage Tyrant, or does he play Plaguecrafter? Or actually, he's not going to play Carnage Tyrant because he just sacrificed the Memorial to get back Jade Light Ranger. So Bolas is down. Oh, 2 Carnage Tyrants. So I think that's a match-winning hand right there. I was going to say we did see Disdainful Strokes, but they don't matter because Carnage Tyrant can't be blocked. It's only Thought Erasure that's his only out here, but he doesn't have it. So here comes the first Carnage Tyrant. He's on 16. That'll work. Eldest Reborn. So that's a good clean answer to 1, but it can't answer 2. Because Vivian Reader's going to come down. This can be Disdainful Stroked or negate. Dylan says, come on. I don't know why he's saying that. That's the first time we've actually seen a counterspell. Oh, he's going to concede. I think that's a bit premature. So Rob takes down game 1. Rob takes down the first game, which is standard 2-1, which was his pick. So Dylan... Dylan here is chosen Modern for the second format, and he's on the play. Yeah, I think that last concession was really premature from Dylan because he had the Plaguecrafter so he could have dealt with one of the threats. He still had a healthy life total as well, and a Carnage Tyrant, so I wonder if it's a bit of a rage quit there. Well, Hallowed Fountain into Aether Vials well, they know each other's deck lists. It's Barnt Spirits, but this is kind of a slightly different take on the Spirits because it's uses 4 companies and 2 Ether Vials. It could be blue-white, but as I say, they know each other's deck lists. And of course, we saw Rob's deck list because of the turn 1 Inquisition. What does he discard? He's going to get rid of Thoughtseize here. So Selfless Spirit will go down. And is it Spell Queller or is it Path? He's going to take Path. So yeah, Dylan's made it easy for us. We can see the hand there. It's a Spell Queller and 2 cards. And I wonder what's going to be worth. I wonder what it's going to be worth to Spell Queller here. This Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, he's going to take the first thing that pops up. So he's down to 10 life though. So Rob's... there's nothing to sneeze at. He plays Temple Garden untapped here, shocks himself, does nothing, 4 mana up. This can only be one thing. So what we'll see, he could go Tracker land. Yep, and we'll probably see the accompanying response just in case he hits a Spell Queller here. See if he finds a Spell Queller for the Tireless Tracker. If he doesn't, I think he's in a bit of trouble. He does. Oh no, actually it's a Phantasmal Image, which he's copied the Spell Queller. And on top of that, he's found a Drogskull Captain, which makes his Queller hexproof as well. So Dylan can't even kill the creature to get it back. He's going to shock himself there just so that he has the option to pump the Scavenging Ooze. So he's potentially taken 8 on the way back here, and he's doing so to try and entice a block to get that Drogskull Captain. But it looks like at this stage the race is going to be won by Rob. Oh, that's a big play, an Assassin's Trophy. Now he's going to be able to respond to this Rattle Chains trigger on the stack. What's he going to target? He's actually targeting the Rattle Chains. No, he's having a second think about it now. He's going to get the Drogskull Captain. He can't get the Rattle Chains once it's on the battlefield. And because he killed that Drogskull, he's going to be able to eat it with something with the Skoos as well. No cards in hand for Rob. Down to 3. Rob's dead on board next turn. He needs to top deck something right now. Both creatures are lethal. See what he finds. He's got 1 card in hand. And he doesn't find anything, so Dylan strikes back to take game 1 in Modern. Languish out the... I'm guessing that's come out the sideboard. I really like that card in Modern. I don't know why it doesn't see any more play than it does. Not suggesting it's a huge impact, but particularly black decks that don't want to play all... I forget the name of the Black Wrath off the top of my head, but and it's also good against other decks like Affinity, where that they play Etch Champion. So this is, you can see here, a 3/3 Wanderer coming across. This is a pretty explosive start if he's got something to back it up here from Rob. But this is going to do some damage. Liliana, the Last Hope, is just going to maul these spirits. Geist of St. Traft, and while these things come down here, 2 cards left in hand of 2 Ether Vials. That Languish is looking very good. I wonder if he wants to hold off a bit longer and get some more value out of it. Because he's going to take 6 from the Geist here. He gets the clue. So he's going to trade Tireless Tracker for the Geist. Geist, of course. Well, no, he is, because Geist is going to get a Noble Hierarch trigger to become a 3/3, so it's going to trade with the Tireless Tracker. Well, now it's not. So that's a Tireless Tracker is going to be a chump blocker now. I think he's got a chump block here because he's going to Languish next turn. Languish is going to be really good. Then he can have an empty board with Liliana. And Rob will only have one card in hand. Looks like he's thinking about not blocking. Oh, because the Angel isn't even going at Liliana. Yep, so he's kind of locked into Languish next turn now. Oh, he's going to Violin... What? What do you Violin for 2? What did he copy there? Wait, he violed in and copied an Angel. I didn't know you could do that. So he had a 4/4, but this is looking ugly for him now. Liliana now 2 turns away from an ultimate, which is essentially a win condition. Well, Thoughtseize when the opponent has no cards in hand is not going to do anything. He can either crack a clue. I don't believe he hasn't played a land, so he can actually... He could have cracked the clue and played 2 Tamagotchis there, but he chose to play the tapped land instead. Liliana ultimate coming next turn, so Rob's got to do something right now. He's going to concede, that's what he's going to do. So it's winner takes all in Legacy now. Dylan has been... I really have to ask him what the name of this deck is, because I've been playing him for probably a couple of years now, 2 years. And this is a damn annoying deck. It's a very good deck. But this is winner takes all. Rob took down Standard. Dylan took down Modern. So whoever wins Legacy is advancing to the finals. Trinisphere, so a Tundra with a Dema Signet. So he's on some sort of Esper build, and I'm just going to bring up Rob's deck. I've got all the decks in front of me here. My season was finished quite some time ago. Grand Champion Legacy. He's on some sort of an artifact build. He's just stopped a Foundry and Tezzeret Agent of Bolus. I think... as he plays out as Tezzeret, I think Dylan would agree that his best format is probably Legacy. So, as I say, I've played this one a few times now. I think he uses Smokestack. Wonder if this is actually called Stacks. I don't know. As Tezzeret getting in there with a 5/5, here's sort of the meek, so what can the follow-up be here? He's got the Crucible down, so he can keep playing Wastelands if he wants to, but I think he's got to deal with that Tezzeret at some point. Plays out a Serum Powder. Passes the turn. Oh, here's 10 power, so he's got to do something next turn, otherwise he's dead. He's got 1 life left. Ensnaring Bridge is about all I can think of. Does he top deck it? He does not. He's going to concede, so Rob Goodwin 1 win away from taking down Dylan in the first round of Grand Champion Finals. There's a Smokestack right there in his opening hand. Well, that's interesting. A Sorcerer's Spyglass is coming that could name the Signet here. He's going to get to look at the hand first. He chooses not to. He goes after the land instead. It's an Ancient Tomb. And there's Tezzeret for turn 2. Tezzeret got the job done in the first game, so we'll see if he can get the job done in the second. Although Sorcerer's Spyglass is going to put an end to that. 2 Chalice of the Voids and a Crucible. So no more Tezzeret in this game. Crucible of Worlds is going to be a huge advantage here because it's going to enable him to play Wastelands out of the grave each turn. Dylan can play Smokestack next turn, so we'll see if he goes for that play. Oh no, he's going to play Traxos, the 7/7. This is out of one of the recent sets. I think it's from Dominaria. And here comes a Chalice. How much is he going to play it for? I'm a bit surprised that the Chalice is still in, actually. He plays it for 2. There wasn't any real clear targets for it in the first game. And we know that Rob's got 2 of them. So here comes Traxos. Traxos untaps, and just like that, Dylan's got lethal on board. So answer right now from Rob, we're going to game 3. There is no answer, I don't believe. And we're going to game 3. So it's come all this way. Rob won Standard. Dylan fought back to take Modern, and we're in Game 3 of Legacy. Whoever takes Game 3 of Legacy eliminates the other person and advances to the quarterfinals. Well, a turn 1 swamp doesn't really fill you with a lot of confidence if you're Rob. A turn 2 Traxos does not look good either. Here's a Demon Signet. This is a Talisman of Dominance, so a bit of ramp there, so he's built up pretty quickly. There's an Ensnaring Bridge, so that's come out the sideboard, so that's going to... another answer to Tezzeret. Ballista's going to untap Traxos. So is it 2 more turns for Rob to find an answer to Traxos, the 7/7. There's an answer. But the 5/5 is only going to be a chump blocker though. Well, it's not even going to be that because he's just gone at the face. Is he going to unleash the Smokestack here? He isn't. Yes, here comes Smokestack. Untaps the Traxos. He's going to take 10 from... I was going to say, he's going to take damage from Tezzeret, but he's going to take down Tezzeret. Down to 6, so lethal on board next turn. Rob needs an answer right now, or this game is over and Rob's season is over. It's a Baleful Strix. Well, that's got Death Touch. Unfortunately, Traxos has Trample, and also Ballista can just shoot it down as well. So I believe, unless he's got a follow-up here, this is game over. Yeah, he's just conceding in the chat now. He can buy himself a turn by chumping the Traxos or Talisman, which would take him to 3. But I think actually if Dylan had put an extra counter on there on the Ballista, shot down the Strix and then swung, it would have been lethal either way. Although, yeah, he needed to play he needed to play an artifact to untap Traxos. And in come the 2 Knuckleheads, and Dylan's going to take this down. And Dylan will advance to the next round. A good season from Rob, finishing second. Second in Europe.